My name's Marie Hereth and I am Director of Harvest Talent Recruitment and People Solutions. I host today's session, just a few housekeeping activities. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of our land, the Wotherong people, and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to acknowledge anyone who is Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander who will be on the phone call or the webinar today. Just some housekeeping. Everyone has been muted, so I would suggest and we'd love your participation, so please use the chat feed to put any queries that you might have, anything that you'd like to delve deeper with regards to today. And the webinar will be recorded, so the information can be accessed post the webinar. So in terms of the program, as I said, couldn't come at a more important time. Our webinar series, Maintaining Mental Health and Wellbeing in Crisis. Now we have at Harvest HR, we've set up a COVID-19 page, which lists all of our services, which probably focus on that either HR management component or looking after your employees or looking after yourself. You can also contact us on 1300 363 128. So as I said, we have a whole webinar series. Derek is number 2 in our series. So we looked at resilience last week. We've got maintaining mental health and wellbeing we've got managing stress, worry and anxiety today. We have on Friday, managing mental health challenges and applying self-care strategies. Mindfulness from overwhelmed to optimized is on Monday, and Thursday next week we have looking at using and the benefits of employee assistance programs. Now, Derek has plenty to go through, so I do not want to hog the limelight today. So I'll just introduce Derek briefly. I came to know Derek just before Christmas as he was relocating to the Ballerine. And Derek rebranded himself and his vision and co-created the Thrive Movement Australia in 2019. Derek is truly passionate about living a healthy and purposeful life, one that has him empowering and transforming people, teams, leaders, organisations and communities to be safe, healthy, high performing and of course thriving. Derek is a qualified and experienced peak performance, success, health and life coach. He is an active contributor of 2 men's circles which empower men to be the best versions of themselves for their self, their families and their communities. With ever increasing numbers of people suffering from depression, anxiety, stress, poor sleep, obesity and disengagement, now more than ever there is a need for his skills and knowledge to make an enormous difference for the health, well-being and performance of individuals, teams and organisations. Would you please welcome Derek?
Thanks, Marie, for that wonderful introduction. And first of all, thank you to everybody who's chose to join in this morning. I realise that there is a lot of uncertainty in the world at the moment and people are feeling it. I've been feeling it. So thank you for showing up this morning and making a stand for yourself or for your organisation. So before I go through these 10 powerful strategies and tools to help you cope, I thought let's just check in because you've probably had a busy morning, you've got things coming up, and so let's just spend a minute to just get calm and centered. So what I want you to do is to sit up nice and upright. I get people normally to lower their eyes, but you can if you want to. If you're feeling a bit weird about it, don't have to. But I want you just to feel into your seat, into your chair. Yeah. And just become present to hear your feet firmly on the ground, flat on the floor, wherever you're sitting. Notice your shoulders. Try and sit nice and upright, and then just notice your breath. How's your breath? Is it short, rapid? Is your heart pounding? What can you notice? Is your breath just slowing down? Is it speeding up? Where is it? And just bring your attention to our breath and our body. And just notice your body. And what this does is it just allows us to, as I said, to be calm, be grounded and centered, because we're not able to learn, we're not able to take in information if our mind is wandering somewhere else. Yeah. All right. So beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay. All right, Marie, when you're ready, I'll run through this, these tips for people.
Ready when you are.
Cool. Okay, so can everybody see that first slide with 10 powerful strategies up?
Yep, it's here.
Cool. All righty, let's go through them. The first thing I thought I should throw in is this slide, a little bit of self-awareness. And as I said, there's a lot of people are feeling really out of sorts. I've felt out of sorts, feeling flat and tired and having little motivation. And this is, of course, as we're experiencing grief. Most of us are going through this at some stage. We've been feeling it, and there's 5 stages. So I thought I'd just briefly go through them today to give you a bit of awareness of why you may be feeling out of sorts. So first of all, there was the first one was denial, where we had governments around the world. A lot of them were denying, we haven't got a problem. We see this with Donald Trump still, haven't got a problem. Then the next stage, anger, where people feeling quite rightly so, they might have lost their job, or why is this happening, and being pretty pissed off about it. Now we're seeing a lot of people going through this bargaining with themselves. So they're bargaining with their standards. I'm hearing a lot of people, well, I don't need to get out of bed early in the morning. I can sort of sleep in another hour or 2. I don't need to get dressed. Well, it's not quite 5 o'clock. I can start to have a drink about 4 o'clock. And we're starting to bargain with ourselves. So these can be stages of grief. The next one, of course, is if we're not feeling in control, then we can go into depression. I've certainly had this myself. I've had depression over the years. And so I've learned powerfully, what do I need to do to look after and maintain myself? And the final one, of course, is acceptance. Now, some people are there already, and that's great. Other people are back somewhere along the line, and we don't just necessarily go in a linear way through these. We can go backwards and forwards depending on what the circumstances are in our life and what's thrown at us. Yep, so hopefully that makes sense. All right. Now, another little bit of self-awareness is understanding how our brain is working and responding when we've got all of this uncertainty going around us. What if I said to you that life is about 10% what happened to us, but the other 90% is actually how we can respond and choose to powerfully respond. So what's happening in our brain? If you know the frontal cortex, yeah, that's where we want to be, because that's where we make the best decisions. Our executive thinking, processing, we're rational, we're calm, we're considered, yeah, we're empathetic. This is where we want to be most of the time. But of course, what's happening to us at the moment is we're going into this, our amygdala, this part in the center of our brain. It sort of hijacks our emotional state and puts us into fight or flight. And when we're in the fight or flight, of course, we're the opposite. We're irrational, we're impatient, we lack empathy, we can't think straight, memory decreases. And for those working in teams and working in factories and working with machinery, we can make mistakes. When we become careless, become angry, we can yell, and of course our ego will kick in, we're always right. Now, if that's not bad enough, our digestion and our immune system stops, because our brain says you don't need that at the moment because you're in fight or flight mode. Yeah, so does that make sense? So I thought just give you a little bit of that background of what's going on in our brain and what's going on in our emotional states. And we'll probably be there somewhere in this mix. Yeah. So just have a think about where you're at the moment. Okay. Now, why is this happening? As I said, there's so much uncertainty and it's throwing us. Now, we can go from our frontal cortex straight back to our survival brain like that. That's the scary part. The wisdom here is to learn this is happening to me, and then how do I get out of that? So who would like to know how to get out of that state of fight or flight and back into your frontal cortex? You're all saying, yes, Derek, tell me. Okay, all right. So one of the powerful techniques I've learned over the years is this thing called intentional breathing. Now, we all breathe, so this is intentional breathing. These are yoga techniques, so I didn't invent them. They've been around for thousands of years. So this one called 4-7-8, powerfully within a minute or two, has us get calm and clear. It's used by the US Navy SEALs. It's used by Fire Brigade. It's used by CEOs have taught this to how to get into the state that they need to be in when they're feeling overwhelmed. And so we can use it as well. Yeah. So why don't we have a practice now just for a minute or two. So I'm going to get you to breathe in really deeply for a count of 4. Then I'm going to get you to hold your breath for a count of 7. And then you're going to let it out for a count of 8. We'll just do that for a couple of minutes and see what you feel any difference. And then, of course, if we continued for a few minutes, in fact, up to 10 or 15 minutes, it powerfully releases emotions. And so this is used as a way of healing through the grief process, just through breathing. Who would have thought? All right, who's up for it? Hands, yeah, I can see some hands, great. Okay, let's run through it. All right, getting yourself again, sitting up nice and straight in your chair. We'll go a big count in for 4. All right, ready, steady, go. Biggest breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 2, 4, 5, 6. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the way. That's it. All the way. And let those shoulders drop. Beautiful. All right. Now, big breath in again. And hold. And out. All the way. Beautiful. Good job. Okay, a couple more. Big breath in. And hold. And out. Good job. All right, another big breath in. And hold. And let it out. All the way. Drop those shoulders. All that tension. Beautiful. Okay, now that was just 1 minute. In that 1 minute, we're starting to get more oxygen to our brain. We're starting to move back into our frontal cortex and our higher functioning, and we let go of that stress and anxiety. It is that powerful. Yeah.
All right. A question that's just come through.
Yes.
You breathe out through the mouth or the nose?
Through the mouth.
Through the mouth. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. All right. Anytime. Okay. So as I said, it's powerfully used to let go of grief as well. Another simple thing we can do that is really powerful is to practice this thing called mindfulness. Who practices mindfulness? Anybody? So it's about being present, fully present, in the moment, right now. What if I said to you that most of us miss out on our life because we're not actually present to our life? Wow. Yeah. This is because we have this thing called the monkey mind. 60,000 thoughts a day from women, 40,000 thoughts a day from blokes. And it just chatter all the day long. Never stops. What can we do about it? A good way to help us be in the moment is to take the attention off our own self and our mind, our ego, and to practice deep listening when we're talking to someone, or when they're talking to us, I should say. So we're listening and focus all of our attention, and our mind quietens and we have better relationships. Practice single tasking. Did you know that multitasking is a myth? Only 2% of people can actually multitask. I know you tell me, Derek, I'm those 2%. I know I'm definitely not. All right. My wife thinks she is, and my daughter. Women are certainly better because your brains are geared differently. Yep, 80% of women can't read maps, and 80% of blokes are hopeless at multitasking, even if we try to. It's just our brains are wired differently. Practice this mindful eating. Do you know that your body can absorb 20 to 30% more of its nutrition when we're mindful to eating our breakfast? But where's our mind most of the time? Like this morning, you're probably on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, you're watching TV, reading the paper, talking to your family, and we're not really focused on what we're supposed to be doing. And that's just the joy of just eating our meal. So powerful stuff. All right, so let's have a look now. Where is this stress and anxiety, worry? Where's the main cause of it in your life at the moment? Is it that you've possibly lost your job or lost your position within the company, that you've been moved sideways? Is that an issue? Fair enough. Are you feeling overwhelmed and anxious from all the constant negative news from not only in the media, but from your family and friends that are just reposting or noticing on social media? Is it your kids? Are you glad that they're back to school today? And then you realise, well, hang on, they're not actually back to school. Most have to stay at home again. I'm hearing that a lot of parents are over having their kids at home already. Maybe it's your partner. You're not used to having your partner at home, and now you have your partner at home, and you're both starting to get on under each other's skin. Maybe it's simply that you can't do the things that you usually enjoy doing. And of course, we just had Easter where families get together, and now we haven't been allowed to do that. So physically, we've had to be creative and do things, a lot more things like we're doing today on Zoom. So for a lot of people, I'm hearing they actually need to be creative, change gear, or pivot in their roles they're doing at work. Or if they certainly lost your job, then you've got to change gear. What else can I do? And I've had to do this as well. But what I understand about the brain is we cannot be creative whilst we're stressed. Our brain does one or the other. So our frontal lobe is where we're creative. If we're stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed, we'll be stuck in our survival brain and we won't be able to be creative. So we've got to get calm and clear if we want to have more inspiration, more vision, more ideas, more imagination. Does that make sense? Have a think. Now let's have a look at the mindset of those people who are thriving. You may have heard the expression, attitude is everything. Yeah, and they're right. But attitude starts with gratitude. When? First thing in the morning. You may have heard Tony Robbins has been banging on about it for years. First thing in the morning. What it does is it powerfully sets us up for a thriving mindset. Be grateful. First thing in the morning. And again, at last thing at night. Why last thing at night? Because what do we do generally before we go to sleep? We're laying there, we go over our day. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this. Oh, I forgot to phone Marie. Yes, I've got to do that. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, tomorrow I've got this, and we get ourselves overwhelmed. And what our subconscious brain does during our sleep is it looks for all of those excuses and reasons how we didn't do this, we should have done this, we could have done that. Remember, our subconscious brain, when we're asleep, it doesn't care whether we're thinking of good things or bad things. It'll just find us more of what we focus on. So if we practice on gratitude, then this, hopefully you can see, is the way to go. So simple formula I learned was 5 things to be grateful for today. The best thing about today, what I learned today, and 1 thing I need to do better tomorrow from today. And you just really get into the state, you've got to feel it. Not just say it, but you've got to feel it. And that way, it puts an energy and vibration through your body and you're putting it out there. What if I told you not to worry? Never have any worries again. You'd say, Derek, you're crazy. Well, if I said to you that worrying is a useless, self-destructive emotion, and you go, yes, I know, but what do I do about it? What if I asked you to not worry, but have concerns instead? All right. And when I mean about having concerns, have a concern about what's within my control versus what's outside my control. So at the moment, what is inside my control is what it always has been. I can only control my words, my thoughts, and my deeds. What's outside my control is this whole coronavirus, what's going on in the world. I can't impact that, but I can with my actions, and we've been told to stay home, be safe. Yeah. So if we can powerfully work out what's within our control versus what's outside our control and let go of what's outside our control, then obviously that'll make a huge difference. Yeah. So it's about, letting go. You can say, well, okay, I've got a big concern, yes. And then you say, do I need to take action about it? Who do I need to speak to? What do I need to do to make it happen? Or in the scheme of things, it's not worth worrying about. And so to let it go. Because sitting on the fence is not going to help us at all. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Practice meditation now. Who's my meditators there? Who practices meditation? Hopefully you all are. If you don't, then that's fine. When would be a good time to? Now. Why? Do you want to feel calmer, more in control? Do you want to be able to think clearer? Do you want to be more centered and more productive? And of course we all do, don't we? And this is the power of meditation. It's been around for thousands of years. And in no coincidence now that more people are doing online courses with meditation, more people are looking and searching with YouTube clips for meditation. I practice meditation, and I know I need to practice more meditation now. Of course, there's lots of YouTube clips. You can get guided music. You can do, if you're a beach person, a rainforest, whatever you like. There's heaps of apps for meditation. Yeah, Inside Timer's got thousands of free ones. Calm is a good one. It has sleep stories. We're listening to a great one by Stephen Fry about travelling through Provence in France and smelling the lavender. And you go, I just listened to that. Next thing you know, you fall asleep. It's fantastic. Smiling Mind is a Melbourne-based one. And of course, Headspace is a national. There's lots of those. Another powerful tool we can do to help ourselves cope at the moment is to actually journal our thoughts and our concerns and our feelings and have a look at those in a reflective way. Very powerful. You might be doing that already. Now, I'm not talking about writing a book. If you think, oh, Derek, I don't have time to write. Yeah, just empty that brain without thinking too much. And it's just free flow writing, and put onto paper or type it out. Yeah. And then have a bit of a reflection. Yeah. Is this making any sense? You're also getting to know yourself better, and self-awareness is king here at the moment. You might say, whoa, I'm feeling like I want to have a drink more. I'm letting my standards slip. I'm getting angry. I'm doing this. I'm losing it a bit more at the moment. This is all perfectly normal. So this is going to impact our sleep, isn't it? And if you're not sleeping well, then you're not alone. Now, the thing about sleep, of course, is it resets us every night. So let's go through some basic sleep hygiene, like my friend here. You may have heard no electronic devices an hour before bed, and certainly not in bed. Yeah, how are you going with that one? It's not easy. I know you want to keep watching Netflix, another episode. Yeah. A darkened room is essential. It helps us produce our brain, produce melatonin, of course. Maybe you need to quieten the room. There's other people still up and they're making some noises. If you live where there's traffic, although the traffic is certainly quieter than usual, maybe that keeps you awake. Maybe it's your partner snores. I don't know. And practice meditation that we talked about. Listen to guided meditation or a sleep story. Drink some sleep tea. Yes, there's some powerful sleep teas, herbal teas that really work. Practice that 4-7-8 breathing technique that we just practiced, and that gratitude that we talked about earlier. These will make a huge difference to helping you get the sleep that we all need. And of course, connection. And there's no coincidence that connection, or inter-social connectedness, as it's known, is the number one thing that we can do to extend our life and live a long, happy life. No coincidence. So, and that's because it's a basic human need to belong, to connect. That's why there's over 2 billion people on Facebook crying out to belong and connect. Do they really belong? Do they really connect? Well, that's another discussion. So people are phoning their family and friends a lot more. Our elderly here are probably not on social media. I introduced my mum to video. She's not on Snapchat naturally, but we can do video with our phones. So seeing this is a lot more way, and you probably feel the connection than just a normal phone call. So great. It's now that we've got lots of forms for videoing. People playing games more at home, which is great to see. Let's have a quick chat about the difference between lonely versus alone. All right. When we're by ourselves, we all need alone time. But of course, if too much alone time turns into feeling lonely, then that's not good. A lot of people now are freaking out because they've been alone for the first time. Yeah, and they don't know what to do themselves. They've got to keep busy, got to keep busy, got to keep busy. And there's this busyness loop that has got a lot of people in our societies stuck in. And we've been going faster and faster in this busyness loop. And now we've stopped. We're by ourselves at home, a lot of people, and they're freaking out. If you can get to know yourself and be comfortable in your own space without the constant need for distractions, then wow, that is a powerful way of being. Of course, laughter is still the best medicine, as we've known and we've heard before. So you're saying, Derek, are you crazy? How can I be laughing at a time like this? Well, what activities have you done, could you do, that brings you some joy? You can watch some comedies, listen to some comedians. Laughing yoga. Who's played or practiced laughing yoga? I first introduced this about 15 years ago, and it was funny doing yoga. Of course, there's heaps of effects on Messenger and Snapchat apps that my daughter's showing me all the time, and they're great fun. Yeah, just try and find and schedule in some fun to have in your day. Exercise. We know that we need to exercise. It's not rocket science. Yeah, we can still walk, run, jog, and ride. If you don't normally, then please start. It's so important at the moment for our physical and mental health. Yoga is a great exercise that we can do in our lounge rooms. Maybe you're into Tai Chi, or just the old push-ups and planks. Yeah, I do those every night before I go to bed, and it's just an essential part of my routine. Home gym sales are skyrocketing, no coincidence. And diet. We can still order takeaway, can't we? And Uber Eats are going through the roof. Domino's pizza sales are doubling. But it's clean food that we're after here. When I mean clean food, I mean food that is least interfered with by man. So don't worry about low GI. This is low HI, human interfered with. Now, the good thing is, end of summer, lots of fresh fruit around at the moment. Plentiful. Veggies, fresh fruit. I had to laugh when all the toilet paper and the flour's been taken from the shelves, and yet all the beautiful fresh fruit and veggies still there. I thought, okay, I'm going for the fresh fruit and veggies. And get creative in the kitchen. You know, you've had your kids, your partner at home. I'm blessed. My partners, we had baked cauliflower last night, a whole cauliflower, plentiful. And it was just magnificent. So who's doing the cooking? Who could do the cooking at home? Now, if you're tired and stressed, you know your brain goes into survival mode and it hunts for fried food, salty food and sugar. That's why there's no coincidence that Macca's and KFC's coming to town. It's on the roundabout, you're going past, and your car just automatically steers in there. So just catch yourself and stay away from those fried, salty, sugary foods. That's just your brain going into survival mode. All right. Now, Last one I forgot, because it's not my strength, but structure and routine. We need to develop a new structure, a new routine for our home environments, don't we? What will work for you at the moment? What's going to enable you to perform and be at your best? So simple things like getting up at the same time, get dressed the same as you would for work. Yeah. And you're going to have to establish some new boundaries for yourself and with your kids and your partner and your work. It's not easy. So from all the things I've talked about today, and I know I've talked about heaps of stuff, all right, and they're important. They're powerful tools and strategies that you can adopt. So if you just had to choose one from today, which one, if you chose and implemented it, would make the most difference for your life and the quality of your life now? Have a think. Give yourself a challenge. Which one, if you took it on board, would make the difference for your life? Have a think. All right. How was that? Any questions there, Marie?
No, there's no questions, Derek. Throughout the presentation, we found that Jo Circuit is our daily meditator, and there's no wonder that she's presenting on mindfulness on Monday.
Yep.
I'm an intermittent journaler, so I start with the best intentions.
Yes.
And then it wanes. I would literally journal for about 5 days, and then I'm like, what recommendation would you have to just keep going with the cause? Because I think we just get into the, yep, did it, and then you either get into it or you don't. Any recommendations?
Yeah, so the best time to journal is first thing in the morning or just before you go to bed. So first thing in the morning, have your journal beside you, and before you start thinking about your day, you just let it flow.
Yeah.
Before you go to bed at night time, you empty that brain. You don't want to try and go to sleep with issues unresolved. And just, if you're not happy with work, not happy with your kids, your family, your partner, you're feeling in yourself, write it out before you go to bed. It's a good way of distancing it and getting it out from you onto paper.
And as you spoke, and it came up saying like really good tips that you're providing. And one thing that I found valuable, even with the last webinar we did, is to get the recording. So as you've been talking, there's been about half a dozen going, recording please, because particularly the breathing, it's really difficult if you're a novice, and I'm a novice breather, like this deep breathing, and it's really difficult to just go, I'm going to deep breathe in that 4, 7, 8 that Derek told me to do. And so when you get the recorded webinar, you've got Derek to pace you through it again and again. So you don't have to feel like it's you leading yourself. You've actually got the master meditator here that you can access. So there's been some queries about the webinar recording. I've said connection for me is really where it's at, because as time goes on, as isolation goes on, just reaching out to friends, and friends have been reaching out to me as well because they know that it can be challenging. Another plus was routine, that routine is key. Routine is key, and there's a big impact for one of our listeners as well. So with Derek's, this is just a snippet of Derek's training. Derek's course is a half-day course of coping with stress, worry and anxiety. You'll get to practice more those intentional breathing techniques. Imagine if you did it for 10, 15 minutes, what that would look like. Understanding further the basis of stress, anxiety and worry, getting creative. What does that changing gear look like? Creating that thriving mindset. Delving deeper into the journaling. So maybe I should be on a half-day course with you, Derek. Why is sleep so important? Connection and laughter, and diet and exercise. So there's a half-day webinar series. So it's going to be in 45-minute chunks. So 5 45-minute chunks, and it can be for individuals or for workplaces. Really great time to do it now, because people can go on that health and wellbeing journey from their home, and it is just vital right now. It's no longer easy. We're all over the novelty of working from home. There's stood down workers that are not getting enough diversity in their life, so they don't have their work to rely on. So there's a hunger for this right now. And finally, we have a whole mental health and wellbeing program that you can access. So if you'd like to learn more about that, I'd encourage you to get in contact with Harvest at info@harvesthr.com.au. I've already mentioned the next webinars. All are available at harvesthr.com.au/events if you'd like to book into a further webinar series. But I feel great. So I'm hoping that has been released in the ether, in virtual world. But I had another comment here: structured routine incorporating early morning exercise and creative evening cooking is working for me. So again, some really good feedback. I could hear that you wanted the feedback. You're a two-way man. And it was probably a challenge for you, but it made you sort of probably hit the time. If I unmuted everyone, we might not have got there. So again, thank you, Derek, and reach out to Harvest if you'd like to gain more of Derek, more of his courses. This is just one of several that Derek does offer. Thanks again for your participation today, and thank you, Derek.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here, making a stand for yourself and your life.